Welcome! Today, we are cracking open the official rulebook for every single company in India, the Companies Act of 2013. We're going to break down the entire system that dictates how businesses are run, who's really calling the shots, and, importantly, what happens when that power gets abused.
So, let's just start with a really basic question. When you picture a big company, who do you think is actually running the show? Is it the CEO at the corner office, the thousands of people who own the stock, or maybe the original founders who had the big idea? Well, it's not quite that simple. You see, the real answer isn't a single person. It's actually a carefully constructed system. The Companies Act lays out this whole framework of different roles and responsibilities. Think of it like a system of checks and balances, all designed to make sure a company is run fairly for everyone involved, from the smallest shareholder all the way to the public. All right, first up in this system, let's talk about the drivers. These are the folks responsible for actually steering the whole organization, the board of directors.
The board of directors is basically the company's command center. They're elected by the shareholders, and their number one job is to look out for those shareholders' interests. Now, they're not in the weeds of daily operations. They're focused on the big picture, setting the vision, the mission, and the overall strategic roadmap for where the company is headed.
And this is pretty smart, actually. The law knows that one size doesn't fit all. So for a public company, which has its shares out there for anyone to buy, you need at least 3 directors for more oversight. A private company needs at least 2, and, well, a one-person company, as you'd expect, just needs 1. Now, inside that boardroom, there's a really special role that's designed to be the group's conscience, and that's the independent director. These are total outsiders. They're not involved in the day-to-day running of the company. Their entire purpose is to bring a fresh, unbiased perspective to the table, to challenge groupthink, and to make sure decisions are truly fair. And to make sure they stay independent, the law is super strict about term limits. An independent director can serve for 5 years, and then they can be reappointed for another 5. But after that, they have to take a mandatory 3-year cooling-off period. This prevents them from getting too comfortable or too close to management, which ensures they always remain a truly independent voice. Okay, so we've got the drivers, but who's making sure they're staying on the road and following the rules? Well, every good system needs a watchdog. And in the corporate world, that watchdog is the auditor. An auditor's job is absolutely critical. They are a completely external party, and they're hired to do a deep dive into all of a company's financial records. Their entire mission is to verify that the numbers the company is reporting are accurate and that they paint a true and fair view of its financial reality. And you'll notice a pattern here. Just like with independent directors, the law enforces auditor independence through rotation. An audit firm can only stick around for 2 5-year terms in a row. After that, they're out for a 5-year cooling-off period. This rule exists for one reason: to prevent an auditor from getting too cozy with a company, which could cloud their judgment. And let me tell you, an auditor does way more than just check spreadsheets. They have the legal right to access all of the company's books. They have a duty to report anything that looks wrong. But here's the big one. If they even suspect fraud, they are legally required to report it directly to the central government. That is a massive responsibility. So that's how it's supposed to work. You've got drivers and watchdogs. But what happens when that system fails? The Companies Act has very specific names for these kinds of breakdowns: oppression and mismanagement. Let's start with oppression. The legal definition here is really powerful. This isn't just about a minor disagreement. The law says an act is oppressive when it is burdensome, harsh, and fundamentally wrongful. It's about an unfair, damaging abuse of power. So what does this actually look like in the real world? It could be something as obvious as just stopping a shareholder from exercising their basic rights. Or it could be sneakier, like forgetting to send meeting notices to certain people so they can't vote. But at its heart, oppression is always about the people in power hurting those who aren't. Now, it's really important to get the difference between oppression and mismanagement. Here's a simple way to think about it. Oppression is an attack on people, specifically minority shareholders. Mismanagement, on the other hand, is about damaging the company itself, or even the public interest. This could just be sheer incompetence, like failing to hold meetings or file the right paperwork. One is an abuse of power, the other is a failure of duty. So, when that internal system of checks and balances completely fails, when you have clear oppression or mismanagement, the law provides a final backstop. There's a powerful external body designed to step in and fix the mess. And that powerful referee is the National Company Law Tribunal, or NCLT for short. When shareholders feel like they're being treated unfairly or that the company is being driven into the ground, they can take their case to the NCLT and ask it to intervene. And the NCLT is not just a mediator that makes suggestions, it has real teeth. So just how much power are we talking about here? Just look at this. The tribunal's authority is immense. It can literally fire the CEO and the entire board. It can reverse shady deals. It can cancel contracts. It can even force the majority shareholders to buy out the minority ones at a fair price. And maybe most importantly, it can take over and dictate exactly how the company needs to be run from that point forward.
And believe me, these orders are not optional. If a company dares to ignore an NCLT order, it's looking at a fine of up to 25 lakh rupees. The law makes sure that the tribunal's decisions have some serious financial bite.
And here's a crucial point. The accountability doesn't stop with the company. The law goes after the individuals, directors, managers, even the auditors. If they're found to be at fault, they can face massive personal fines and, in serious cases, even jail time. The message is loud and clear. You can't hide behind the company's name.
So, after all that, after looking at the drivers, the watchdogs, and the ultimate referee, what's the big takeaway? What is the whole point of this incredibly detailed system?
You know, this quote, taken right from the act itself, really says it all. A director's job isn't just about making money for shareholders. It's so much bigger than that. Their duty is to act in good faith for everyone, the members, the employees, the community, and even the environment. The whole rulebook is designed to make sure a company serves all of its stakeholders. Which leaves us with one final big question to think about. We have this massive, incredibly detailed rulebook that's meant to guarantee fairness. But is any set of rules, no matter how perfectly written, ever truly enough? Or, at the end of the day, does it always just come down to the basic integrity of the people in charge?